Have you ever found yourself in a situation where it seemed like everything was against you, where the odds were so great that it seemed impossible to come out unscathed? Today, we're diving into the story of a man who faced one of the most terrifying trials in the Bible, Daniel in the lion's den. But this isn't just a story about courage. It's a powerful testimony of how to remain steadfast in faith, even when the whole world seems to be against you. So if you've ever felt discouraged or questioned whether God is truly in control, this video is for you. Don't forget to like, share, and comment, so this message can reach more lives. To understand the magnitude of Daniel's story, we need to go back in time. Daniel was a young Jewish man who was taken captive to Babylon, far from his land and his people. In a completely pagan environment where the values and beliefs were opposite to his own, Daniel could have conformed to the culture around him. But he chose something different. He decided to remain faithful to God, no matter the cost. Daniel not only maintained his faith, but also stood out for his integrity and wisdom. He refused to defile himself with the king's food, opting instead for a simple diet blessed by God. This decision may seem small, but it was the first step in showing that Daniel trusted God more than the offerings of the world. And here's the lesson for us. In a world that often pressures us to abandon our values, Daniel's story challenges us to remain steadfast. He shows us that faithfulness to God isn't just about big moments of courage, but about small daily decisions that reflect our trust in Him. Now that we understand the context, let's dive into the crucial moment of Daniel's story, the lion's den. Daniel had become one of King Darius's top advisors, but his faithfulness to God sparked envy among other leaders. They knew the only way to bring Daniel down was to attack his faith. So they conspired against him, creating a law that prohibited anyone from making petitions to any god or man except the king for 30 days. The punishment for disobedience? The lion's den. Daniel, however, was not intimidated. He continued to pray 3 times a day, as he always did, with his windows open toward Jerusalem. He did not hide his faith or try to please men. Instead, he chose to obey God, even knowing it could cost him his life. And here's a question for you. What would you do in a situation like this? Would we, like Daniel, have the courage to remain faithful to God, even when everything around us pressures us to give up? Daniel's story challenges us to reflect on our own choices. Are we willing to pay the price of faithfulness? When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, King Darius was deeply distressed. He knew he had been manipulated, but Babylonian law was irrevocable. Even so, the king said to Daniel, "Your God, whom you serve continually, He will deliver you." And that's exactly what happened. God sent an angel to shut the lions' mouths, and Daniel spent the entire night in the den, unharmed. When the sun rose, the king rushed to the den and found Daniel alive, saying, "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, so they have not harmed me." This miracle wasn't just about Daniel. It was a demonstration of God's power and faithfulness. He showed that when we trust in Him, even the most impossible situations can be transformed. And here's the good news. The same God who protected Daniel is with us today. He still shuts the mouths of the lions in our lives, no matter what trials we face. Daniel's story isn't just inspiring, it's deeply practical. So how can we apply these lessons in our lives today? Here are 3 simple but powerful steps. Prioritize prayer. Daniel prayed 3 times a day, no matter the circumstances. Prayer was his vital connection to God. How about setting aside daily time to pray and connect with God, even if it's just for a few minutes? Maintain your integrity. Daniel refused to defile himself with the world's offerings. In a world full of temptations, how can we maintain our integrity? Small daily choices, like being honest at work or kind to others, reflect our faithfulness to God. Trust in God's sovereignty. Daniel knew God was in control, even when everything seemed lost. When we face challenges, we can rest in the certainty that God is with us and that He has a greater plan. And here's a challenge for you. This week, choose one area of your life where you can be more faithful to God, whether in prayer, integrity, or trust. Share in the comments how you plan to put this into practice. The story of Daniel in the lion's den is a powerful reminder that when we remain steadfast in faith, God works in ways we can't even imagine. If you're facing a lion's den in your life today, remember, the same God who protected Daniel is with you. He is faithful, and He never abandons us. So, what will you do with this message? How about sharing this video with someone who needs encouragement? Leave a comment sharing how Daniel's story impacted you. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to receive more messages like this. Until the next video, remember, remain steadfast in faith, because God is with you.